Hi, my name's Alicia. I'm here with Authorities Plus. I've been processing new authorities and registration for the last 7 years. So today I want to go over with you the process and how to obtain your permits and authorities. The first, I want to go over with you intrastate, what it requires to be an intrastate carrier. EIN number, what is that? That is your tax ID number. That is a filing that is granted to you by the IRS. You use that to identify your business with. DOT number, that is a federal filing. It's a requirement. That's going to give a description of your company. It's going to have your company name, how many trucks and drivers you have, and then your cargo class. A lot of insurance companies go to your DOT number to make sure that you're staying compliant and that your safety ratings are good. A CA number, that is a California filing with CHP. It is a requirement, and that is on file with CHP. So if you get in an accident or anything happens while you're operating, CHP will have a file on you and everything will be listed under your CA number. MCP, you're going to hear that term a lot. That is a motor carrier permit. The motor carrier permit is an annual permit that is required to be paid every year. In order to have that permit, you have to have insurance on file. You have to be enrolled into a drug consortium. And then the permit also lists out what cargo class you're hauling, and then you have to abide by that. And then also list out your VIN numbers on your vehicles. So depending on how many vehicles you have in your fleet will depend on how much this permit will cost you. This permit is filed with the California DMV. EPN, stands for the Employer Pull Notice Program. That is a filing done with California DMV. You need that because if you have drivers driving underneath of you, under your CA number, your DOT number, these drivers have to be listed on your employer pull notice. Basically, if they get pulled over or get a ticket while on the clock, and say they don't report that to you, well, DMV, with them being enrolled into this program, will send you a driving record and will send you a copy of the ticket. So this is a good way to hold your drivers accountable, and the state requires it. Next is a 2290. 2290 is an IRS tax fee. Every commercial carrier has to file this tax with the IRS. It is $550 if you're going to be at 80,000 pounds, but there are different weight categories. So if you're less than 80,000 pounds, the amount of that filing goes down quite significantly, actually. It's required to be filed once a year in July. And if you're going to be over 55,000 pounds, you're required to do a 2290 filing. Drug consortium. Anybody that operates a commercial vehicle over 26,000 pounds is required to be in a drug consortium program. What is that? That's a business or a consortium that manages your drug testing and has you go do random drug testing. That is a requirement if you're going to be over 26,000 pounds. And then the clearinghouse is a federal filing. That's with FMCSA. It's a hub where your drug consortium goes and reports all your drug testing results to. And you, as the owner of this company, are required to run what they call queries once a year on all of your drivers. It's a requirement. The queries can run you up to like $6.25. And that's it for California only. If you decide to take your operation and be interstate, there will be additional filings that will be required. One of the additional filings is an MC number, and that is a federal filing that you would obtain with FMCSA. That filing attaches to your DOT number, and insurance has to do a filing on that to make it all go active. That filing does cost $300. and it's a requirement to have if you want to take loads across state lines. And then in addition to that, your motor carrier permit would now no longer be an annual permit. It would change to be a non-expiring motor carrier permit. So you wouldn't have to pay that permit fee every year now. The motor carrier permit for interstate carriers is non-expiring. UCR, which stands for United Carrier Registration, is a program that requires individuals or companies to register with the United Carrier Registration. That is a federal filing, and it is based on your fleet size. BOC3. A BOC3 is a filing that you're required to have again if you're going to cross state lines. It is granting somebody the authority to accept any sort of legal documents on your behalf. So let's say you're based here in California, but you're in Missouri and you had an accident over there. Well, you're not going to stay in Missouri the whole time, waiting for the legal process. So the BOC3 is set up where an agent can receive legal documents on your behalf in that state and then mail them to you, to your home state. So everybody that has an MC number is required to have a BOC3. If you do not have one, your MC authority will not go active. Okay, IFTA, which stands for the International Fuel Tax Agreement. What is that? It is a permit that is required for any trucks that are operating over 26,000 pounds, and you must be running interstate, so out-of-state travels. That is a program that is set up for reporting your fuel tax. Very simple. You have to report all the miles and the gallons that you purchase in each state that you travel in at the end of each quarter. It can be confusing, but no worries. We're the professionals with that. We got you covered. And then there are states that require extra filings if you're going to be interstate. Oregon is one of them. You can't just have your DOT, your CA, and your MC number and go to Oregon. Oregon requires you, one, to have an Oregon account and an Oregon weight receipt set up. And then if you want to go to Oregon, you're also required to have a $2,000 surety bond on file. Now, you don't have to pay the whole $2,000 bond if you can get a bond from like an insurance company. You pay 10%, so it's $200. If you don't want to get a bond and you don't want to go that route, you are welcome to pay Oregon $2,000 and have that on file with them. And then after you've been working in that state for the first year and you've had great, excellent filing history, then they will give you a refund on that money. And then New Mexico. New Mexico also requires an additional permit. So you can't just go to New Mexico with the authorities that you have, the DOT and the MC. You have to purchase a weight distance permit in New Mexico. Those are an annual permit and they're $10. Kentucky is the same. The permit is $25. It's annual. If you're over 60,000 pounds is when you're required to have a Kentucky permit. So if you're under 60,000 pounds, you're not required. New York requires you to have a weight distance permit for their state. So your DOT and your MC authority will not allow you into New York if you do not have their additional permit. And that permit will run you right around $100. Okay, IRP. What is IRP, right? It is an optional method for registration. And guess what? Authorities Plus has plates and stickers in office now. We were just approved. We can process registration here now. You don't have to wait 3 to 4 weeks for IRP to do it for you anymore. Authorities Plus can handle that. 1 to 2 day turnaround processing. Isn't that exciting? We are so excited to be able to bring IRP to you. Okay, so there you have it. That is the process to set up your new trucking company. I know it's a lot. It's overwhelming. It's probably confusing, but we're here to help. I'm Alicia with Authorities Plus. Visit our website, www.authorietiesplus.com, or give us a call, 530-515-6438. And remember, we keep you rolling.